আমরা আজকে সবাই মিলে যাচ্ছি রটনেস্ট আইল্যান্ডে। পার্ক থেকে প্রায় 1 ঘন্টা দূরে রটনেস্ট আইল্যান্ডে। হ্যাঁ, এই যে ভাইয়া ড্রাইভ করতেছে, পিছন দিকে রুমানি আমার বোন, এটা খাদিজা, এটা রায়ান অ্যান্ড এটা শামসুদ্দিন ভাইয়া। আমরা এখন ফ্রিম্যান্টেল বোটে যাচ্ছি। বোট থেকে আমরা ফেরিতে করে রটনেস্ট আইল্যান্ডে যাব।
In 800 meters, take the first exit. In 800 meters, keep left.
Yep, sure. Thanks.
So 25-kilometre round trip. As we go around, lots of little stops to enjoy the views. When the bus has come, secure that young one so no accidents. Anyone been to the family fun park? Anyone played around a mini or relax for a couple of hours? Now we've got the Rottnest Island depot a little bit later. We'll see the wind turbine. And that's when I'll talk about power and system. We'll come across the railway tracks again a little bit later. Now after the railway station, you'll see some cottages on both sides. And when you look at them, you'll notice they don't actually. So millionaires can't buy land here and build their mansions. Every worker gets to live on Rottnest. Most of them have somebody who works in the hotels or restaurants at night. They call the island their home. So some of the workers, as you can imagine, there's a very long waiting list to be the teacher on Rottnest. There's a pride of teaching their students here. They generally ride around the island. We'll come back to that railway line that we saw earlier with the train station, most accommodation on Rottnest, and hopefully with those school camps. So the road to the left leads to Kingston. If anyone is travelling back on the ferry to Fremantle later today, as you come into the harbour, you'll see the remains of concrete pylons where the subs would tie up to, the slipways that would be dragged up for repairs, and even though we know the train is already up at the tour, we still think it's not hard. All clear on the left here. So as you can guess, if the enemy decided to invade Rottnest, take over those guns, they could have turned them onto the submarine base and destroyed it from here. They could have also taken out the city and the relatives of those soldiers on our tour buses. And they've told us the coastline in a minute. You'll be able to imagine how much fishing was done around Rottnest during the war. And just around the bend here, we'll be stopping briefly to look at a shipwreck. Don't forget, once the buses come to a stop, Rottnest. One of the reasons some of the stops need to be made. Now, if you look down to your left, you can see that rusty metal sticking out of the water. 9. No one was actually hurt. It was being towed down for snorkelers. And on a nice day, you see a lot of people having a snorkel adventure around that shipwreck. Now, the 13 other historical shipwrecks lying deep. So the reef dipped up here. We can see Porpoise Bay to our left, where those yellow boat moorings are. Few of those moorings when you arrived in Thompson Bay. Just the number of boat owners by population size in any state in the country. Dropped their anchors when they arrived. They would destroy the seagrass that grows around the island. Now we need to look after the seagrass. It's a vitally important marine. Lives in the seagrass before migrating out to the limestone reefs as a result. So it's actually illegal to drop your anchor in seagrass here. The marine rangers enforce big fines and that's all that seagrass. So those moorings are essential. Now we'll actually see most of the moorings later. Most of them are up here on the north side, right? That section from that strong sun under the seagrass. So another good reason to look after it. Now we're coming up to the point. We're going to drive through a little forest of tea trees. It's called Watson's Glade. Rottnest was covered in these dense Melaleuca. Now to make salt, they brought boilers. And to fire the boilers, to evaporate the water, anchorage. You'll see a lot of boats anchored here this afternoon in the sand. This amount of sand cannot be found. Those are the boats now anchored in the sand. And close to shore, these dark areas, it's the seagrass that I've been telling you about. And it is very good to see anywhere near the city of Perth. Just around the bench. Less than 1 meter's difference between high and low tide, 24 hours. So not a lot of water motion to disturb the sediment. Now this is also a dry island. There are no rivers running off Rottnest. As you can see, for describing the marine life further up, the views are even nicer. Now what you can clearly see here at Little Salmon Bay coming in. Now big sharks like great whites can't come into these bays. There's just not enough room. You have, I'll point out another one at the west end. Now, ospreys are fish hawks. Some people call them osprey eagles. Actually, there's no bird on the nest, but hopefully we'll see one out of the west end. So look into your left. Huge nest on that tiny little island. Oldest osprey nest on the 3 beaches, Salmon Bay. We'll have to cruise past slowly. We won't be able to stop just of our 63 amazing beaches. The most spectacular of our wildflowers. It's actually not a daisy at all. And that road in front of us. Now we're going to take you up to to the Wajima Lighthouse. You'll see it in front of you in just a moment. They live in the southwest. They're a local tribe around the Perth and Fremantle, place in Australia where things like this happen. It was pretty common across the whole continent. And Aboriginal was built by the British settlers. The law of why these had suddenly become crimes. And of course, all the British settlers used it for the Aboriginals. Now, on this island, like the cold and influenza, they had no immunity to those diseases. So Rottnest Island Authority, which is the branch of the government, I personally think it's important, and I'm actually required to talk about it to repair the damage that had been done in the past. Again, I do thank you for listening. How are we going for questions? How often does it rain? Well, we get most of our rain in winter. Wajima Hill now. Keep a look out for them. Please don't touch them. They can carry diseases on their fur. One of those diseases, and anything, needs to, I mean, it's the first on the tour. And that's, of course, Homer's lookout post, operated by the RAN. They have a very important job of keeping an accurate lookout for enemy ships that might be approaching. And when you see this uninterrupted view to the northern horizon, you'll realise why they put the lookouts up here. Now, if you look directly to your left, you'll see the Salt Lakes dating back to World War II. Have we all spotted it? Yep. Wonderful. Alright, we'll continue on now. Now, around the bend here, just at the bottom, we'll stop briefly for those who want to take a photo of the lighthouse through the windows. Now, this lighthouse was built in 1870. There's always a fuse. Macropods are big-footed marsupials. Kangaroos are macropods. Wallabies are macropods. So the quokka, pretty cute. There is somewhere between 12,000 until cats and foxes were introduced by the British populations, and the quokkas cannot live. And by sunset, they'll come out to the open and forage all night long. When that sun rises, back to those shady spots and back to sleep. That's why they're so such. You'll feed quokkas, and it makes them sick. Anything else? I've got a couple of interesting things for you. Narrow Neck, the narrowest part of Rottnest before widening again at the west end. As we go through, that's Rocky Bay. On the way back, I'll talk about the Fremantle Doctor. Now, in the coastlines, and this part of Rottnest is eroding away by a metre or two every year. We will eventually into storms and rising seas. Eventually this will wash away with a big orange triangle on it there. Again, Rocky Bay to the right. For now, we'll keep going. Swim west, swim northwest. Mauritius is a little bit closer. Right. So boardwalk starts up to your right again. Spend most of your time out there. Here on the left, we have Fishhook Bay. I'll point out a little white head sticking up from the nest out there. So when you get off, head over to the fence, have a quick look. And then those two little islands in the distance are known as Cathedral Rocks, home to a colony of New Zealand fur seals with which are very difficult to see from up here. You won't be joining that club, not just yet. So on the far side, can you see the rock formation that people call Crocodile Rock? Now, of course, when it's also painted bright orange on the far side. The idea is you keep them in line and you're a big guy. Now, these are Rottnest diamond tea trees again. Melaleuca plants does have a boat tied up to it. Run out of things to say. If you don't tell me what you're interested in, I can't. So does anyone want to lead me into a topic, ask me a question, anything? It doesn't even have to be about Rottnest, but that would be preferable. My order though would have gone up. So luckily it happened in Narrow Neck, which was a very easy place to fight that fire. But yeah, major issue, bushfires on Rottnest. Try and control them, put them out as quickly as possible. For that reason, you're not allowed to light a fire anywhere on the island and look for fresh water. Not a drop. But the landing saw the quokkas, water on the salty aquifer. And the British say that these hypersaline waters is brine shrimp. And that's what these birds are feeding on. They're smaller than your little fingernail and sometimes called sea monk nowadays. Now with you guys, save a lot of money by cooking your own meals. And indoor esky or cooler box in the settlements, which gets very busy and very noisy in summer. So, in the middle of school holidays, the busiest and most expensive time, just over $400 a night. Now, 2 million people live in Perth. It was put here in 2004 and it cost 3.8 million. The other 10%, whatever rain we can catch in winter. Now, ready to go for those hot summer months. Across here, have it online for the odd day. Wander around Garden Lake after the tour. You'll see a well that they used to get a little bit of fresh on. So thanks for coming along, everyone.
Is there a place to sit down?